Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Modern Grind, and today we're going to be doing something crazy. We just got back. Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Modern Grind. Today we're going to be doing something crazy. We'll be going over the NRG footage that we just got. So if you don't know, weeklies Wednesday night is Modern at the Nerd Rage Gaming store. And if we go to Nerd Rage Gaming, the most recent Modern stream, we go to an hour and just over. Perfect. Well, we got on feature. So first, a couple things that I need to set up first. Really appreciate y'all watching. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoy Goblins content, hit that like and subscribe. Easiest way to support the channel, and it's free. Means the world to me, honestly. And I just remembered I need to do some editing. I'll do it after the video. If we go to the weekly tournament that we played tonight, I played up against my buddy Cris. Shout out to the legend, Cris Mogg Physician. The doctor of the goblins, if you will. Another goblin aficionado, someone who is more flexible in his decks, being willing and able to play whatever he wants at any given time. I should do my mic check before we get too far into it, in case everything is bad. But before we get started, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. It really means the world to me. If you enjoy Goblins content, if you enjoy listening to me ramble, hit that like and subscribe. Easiest way to support the channel, and it's free. Big shout out to the members. They're the ones who make this channel what it is and allow me to, do this. They help me go to these big tournaments. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you can support me for a month, and it means the world to me. So, big shout out to these legends: Alpha Ronan, Tim's Top Decks, Elias Sutter, the Darth Newt, ADDY100K, Jared Munsterman, and the newest member, Annan. Big shout outs to all of those legends. And yeah, let's jump right into it. Go over the games that we played tonight in the feature match area. We're just gotta do the mic check real quick. Technical difficulties. Now we go. Perfect. And everything seems to be in order. Mic check. And everything seems to be perfect. That's what we wanted to see. Now, I do say, well, cool. Everything's working. I will say, Cris is a really good friend, absolute legend, someone who's able to play any deck and play it well. Every time I play against Cris, I learn something. He's somebody that I enjoy playing against because, like an iron on a grindstone, he makes me sharper. And so, big shout out to Cris, absolute legend, and we always have a great time when we play. So to start it off, we were we were both making faces to start. It's always a great time. It's fun when you get to play with your friends. So Cavern on MERFOK into Aether Vial. This is the kind of start that you want if you're playing this Kindred Mirror. Sadly, I had to mulligan to 6. My first hand was Cavern Vial, but then all hands after that. So then goes back to Cris. Cris untaps and draws. Looks at an amazing hand. Looks like he has one other land. 2 other lands. One of them is a Glass Mimic. The other one is a Sink into Stupor. Decides to shock himself to get a Lord of Atlantis down. Really close, though. You see him debating whether or not do I play this tap land, let the Vial get to 2 next turn, but then I still am not putting any pressure on? Or he decides correctly here to bold himself, play the Lord of Atlantis, establish himself as the aggressor. And I think that kind of dominoes through this entire match because my hand is not great. I have to matron for stuff. I have nothing but 3 drops and a Creator Maker. I can play a Creator Maker here, but then when I take up my Vial to 2 next turn, it does actually nothing. I don't think I have a third land. My hand right now is they say get out a life total, and Cris says, well, I'm tracking it on a napkin because he's a legend. So we get the life totals out. I'll turn this down, mute this. all of my commentary is just going over their commentary. Big shout outs to the legends who commentate. May and Dom both do a great job. If you want to watch the stream, they have this amazing YouTube channel called Nerd Rage Gaming. You can go watch their videos too. I like to do breakdowns myself. I like to, because their coverage is out there. They do live commentary on the games. I like to go back and analyze what I do from a Goblin's perspective, see what I can do slightly better. So on this turn, deploys the tap land and plays the Lord of Atlantis. Is the option to violin the Mistcatcher to push one more point of damage. Decides to hold it up in case he wants to put a different 2-drop into play. I get a Surveil land. Again, my hand is double Matron, Pashlik Mons. No, it's double Matron, Mogg Mob, Crater Maker, and I believe I have a Kiki Jiki in my hand. Top card. A second vial goes to the bin because I'm going to be dying before I can cast that, or before I can take up to do something relevant. Draw Munitions Expert, which is kind of nice. So my hand is double Matron, Mogg Mob, Crater Maker, Expert. And I'm trying to figure out, I can only cast, and I have double Munitions Expert is what it looks like. No, because if I had double Expert, I would be in a different situation. So it looks like we're going to put the Crater Maker into play. Sack it. We can't even kill one of the lords, so we decide to just try to go after the vial, cut them off lands. Now we're in a position where we have a vial that's taking up to 3. We can Harbinger, or we can Matron for a Snoop. But the issue is that's going to be one attack cycle too slow for lethal. Already double lorded. The Lord of Atlantis is our 4s, and then the Mistcatcher is a 3. So this is already 11 damage with 3 cards. And I'm just really wishing that I had hit my land drop. If I had hit my land drop, I could combo here. Harbinger is really scary because now most of my stuff just doesn't work. I take 5. 2 ships in the night. Sometimes that's how you have to play Magic, and you can see it on our faces. We just both love playing this game, and it's always fun when you get to play against your friends. And the crazy thing is, this is dual deck Goblins versus Merfolk, but this is at a modern table. I'm like, can I kill anything? It's like you can kill the Hex Catcher, and I concede. Honestly, when I played the Mogg Mob, it was kind of just as a show of force. Here's my Mogg Mob, and then I wanted to kill myself, but I wasn't able to. It only would have dealt 3, so I had to ask a question if I could kill any of their creatures, any of his creatures. It just didn't work. We go to the sideboard and we can see my list. So what I'm trying to do basically in the main is play a focused combo plan and have our backup plan be able to beat specifically Boros. We play Chthonian, Crater Maker, 4 munitions, and a Chain Whirler, and 2 Mogg Mobs. But all of these cards are really good against Boros, but they're not really good against other styles of decks. So what we do is we play Ruin Blaster and Wart Boggart Unti in the sideboard. For the matches where we want to cut all our aggressive cards, we can bring in like Dampening Sphere and Blood Moon and Wart and Ruin Blaster. Ruin Blaster is a 3 mana 2/1 with haste. You can kick it for an extra red, so it's double red and 2 colorless then. When ATBs, if it's kicked, you get to blow up a non-basic. And then Wart is a 4 mana 3/3 with Fear. In your upkeep, you pick up a Goblin card. So as long as you have a sack outlet, you can sack your Ruin Blaster over and over and over again and just repeatedly Stone Rain your opponent's non-basics. Besides that, the deck feels pretty aggressively slanted, but the weakness that we have is really showcased perfectly in this match, where if our opponent is able to present a faster clock and bigger creatures, we usually don't have a way to catch up or to push through damage from that point besides the combo. We are a slow, I would say a slow mid-range deck if we're trying to just attack our opponent to death. We kill them on turn 4 or 5 consistently. not fast by modern standards. What we are is a resilient combo deck. So the issue with that um, play pattern, right, where we are a combo deck that is also able to be a slow aggro deck, and we're a slow aggro deck that can have a combo finish. The issue with those two things, even though they match up very well against the things that we want to beat, we play combo because we want to beat other combo decks. We play slower mid range because we want to be able to transition into a build that can beat control. The issue is when we have a fast interactive deck because they're able to present a clock that we can't deal with because we're used to not having to deal with our opponent's creatures because either we combo them to death or we just like aggro them. If they play something bigger, faster, with interaction, we're in a really tough spot. So Merfolk is actually a really good matchup against us, and they play main deck what main deck Island Moon. It's I don't know what to call it. It's the Magus of the Water. We're gonna call it Magus of the Water, which is just horribly cursed. We get to see some really cool stuff in Chris's list, though. Maybe they did spend a long time talking about my stuff. So this was the list that Cris was playing. I'll let you look at it for a second while I drink some water. I will say, a full 4 chalice in the board. Chef's kiss. 4 Harbinger in the main, subtlety, consigns, like surgical. This deck is extremely focused. Perfect example of the kind of deck that we really can't beat. If we both have our best draws, they have not only do they have the Tidebinders, but they have the Harbingers and they have a clock. So our removal doesn't line up well against their threats, which is tough first off the bat. They're able to get creatures down pretty quickly and efficiently because of the fact that cards like Silver Gill Adept redraw, and they have a lot of built-in value just inherently by playing blue. I think, and after sideboards being able to bring in the subtleties, which just and the 4th Tidebinder, which are honestly on the turns where I go I win. The only thing that I'm really scared about if I'm like playing towards the combo lines, I have to worry about sync and I have to worry about Tidebinder. That's pretty much it, except for consign. I guess I could worry about that post board, but I feel like I have a pretty good matchup against this deck if they don't draw their best cards. The issue is there's 12 cards in this deck that just mess me up. 4 Sync, 4 Harbinger, 3 Subtlety technically, but those cards really make my day difficult, and you're going to see that in this next match. We get right down to the wire, it goes right to the end, and then at the end, I'm in danger. But yeah, I really liked playing this match, though. Playing against Cris was a great time. It was our first time ever playing on camera. We've played for fun a bunch before. Turn 1 Aether Vial? I don't have one. I'm a poser. All right, so now we are back at the shuffling phase of Magic. Honestly, I think more than anything else, I think that we spend more time shuffling than anything else, which is crazy because that part of the game really doesn't have any real impact. Untap, upkeep, draw. Vial's pretty good. I like Vial a lot. The issue is I didn't keep a second land. Modern Merfolk versus Modern Goblins. And if you go back to the first episode of the Modern Grind, when we commentate on our first ever time on the NRG camera, it was Modern Elves versus Modern Goblins. Something about these dual decks, man. They're just so much fun. So yeah, it's cool to see 2 people, like Cris is an expert at a lot of different decks. I would say he's a kindred master. I enjoy just specifically goblins, but I think that, being able to have variety in your life is really, really important. And Cris understands how to be a goblin in any deck that he plays. Me, I'm addicted to just slinging the 1/1s. You can see us both laughing and have a good time here because that's how Magic should be. You should be able to enjoy it and have fun with your friends. Blister Koi Weird. Oh, that's so cool. Hey, shout out to a legend. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate you. Blister Coil Weird is such a cool card. I I think that cards like that, that's from RTR, isn't it? I believe it's a 1-drop. It's a 0/0, and then it does something with counters, I believe. But that's the style of Modern that I love to play, when you can brew and do something crazy and have fun with it. I kept a 1-land hand, but after that turn where I missed a land drop. So here's the thing: when I surveilled, I looked at the top card and it's a vial. If I leave the vial on top, then I can cast. I guess I can cast more spells. So this was probably the punt for this game. If I bin the vial, I can draw my mountain on turn 2, and I don't miss a land drop. But I thought that the vial would be good enough because it's basically a cavern. The issue is it puts me a turn cycle behind, and he's an aggro deck. Slam the 3rd land because I draw it on turn 4. Now we're trying to figure out what we're going to be doing. I cast a Munitions Expert, targeting one of his 2 lords. Lords are 2/2s, and the Tide Shaper is a 3/3 because it's double lorded. In response to killing the first lord, I violin in response to targeting the first lord with munitions, I violin the second munitions. Both the lords die because they take 4. Then I attack in for 3. I feel like this was thinking. We might have been able to be in a better spot if we would have held the Battlecry Goblin back until this turn. Gate Crash, you're right. Gate Crash, my bad. I love that block, though. Ooh, I want to read that out loud. So, it's a 1/1 from Gate Crash. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, it untaps and gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So with Paradise Mantle and cantrips, if you don't know what Paradise Mantle is, it's a 3-mana. It's an artifact equipment where you can equip a creature, and the equipped creature gets tap, add a mana of any color. So then with this card, Blister Coil Weird and cantrips, you're able to just kind of go through your deck, make your Blister Coil Weird really big, and then smack them. That's amazing, which is really cool. Back to this game. So I untap. I'm able to pump with my Battle Cry, give everything +1/+0 and haste. This is a lot of damage. The Battlecry itself has been double pumped, so it's a 4/2. And then all of these 1/1s are 3/1s. And then the other 1/1, well, after I pump the second time, I'm counting. Right now, it's just a 1/1, 3 2/1s, and then a 3/2. Cris has to try to figure out how to survive next turn, because combat this turn is pretty easy. You take a bunch of damage. The issue is when I get to untap next turn. So Cris is trying to think, how do I stop this? So Vial's in a Harbinger. Harbinger turns off all of the mutable text. However, it still stays. Skirk Prospector is one of my favorite goblins. I walked around NRG Minneapolis, I believe, and I saw my friend. No, it was MagicCon Chicago. I recorded all my walkarounds at all the MagicCons. If you go to my playlists on the channel tab, there's a bunch of different walkthroughs that I did. There's so far only 2, but MagicCon Chicago and SCGCon Minneapolis. I had a chest cam and sometimes I just carried my phone. I walked around, and I tried not to be too cringe with it, but I wanted to record as much of it as I possibly could for people who wouldn't be able to go. And I was walking around, and people I recognized, I was like, "Hey!" And I said, "What's up?" And I allowed them to be on the stream. And I said, "What's your favorite goblin?" I asked them a couple questions. And yeah, it was super cool to see like what people said for their favorite goblin. Two of the people said ringleader, which made me really it just made me cheese. I couldn't stop laughing, like smiling. But somebody also said skirk because they said it's literally Black Lotus sometimes or better. Like you play it, and then because you're able to make, mana with your other goblins, it costs free and then it nets you mana. It's kind of insane in goblins. Meanwhile, Cris is figuring out blocks, activates the Mutavault, puts the Harbinger into play because Harbinger has because it still has the type creature. It loses all the subtypes and the type and the effects on the land, but it is still a 2/2 creature until end of turn. That is something that the game knows. So even though it loses that ability to become a 2/2 creature, it still remains a 2/2 creature while Harbinger's in play. They go to blocks, trade, get rid of 3 of my things because everything was pumped. Really well played by Cris. Didn't take a whole lot of damage there, even though a lot of people would probably be like, sure, I can take that. Cris, well aware of how much damage I can push, how fast, plays pretty reserved here. And it's going to pay off really well because his top decks are great. So we untap. Vial goes to 4, which is a mistake looking back. I should have kept Vial on 3. Activates Ringleader. 4 lands. That is how it goes. Sometimes you have and this is the way I look at it, right? That was literally 4 lands on top of my deck I would have drawn in a like over and over and over again. Yeah, I mean a 1/1 is a 20-turn clock, honestly. I love attacking with 1/1s. I love throwing them at my opponent's face. It's one of my favorite things about Magic is small incremental math, a bunch of decision trees, learning how to do things over time. So I have a Lord. I'm attacking with the Ringleader and my 2 1/1s, which become 2/2s, and the Ringleader's a 3/3. Explaining that the Horde Master triggers on anything, and so it doesn't matter what he blocks. He gets rid of the real Goblin in case I have a Kiki Jiki. Really well played. Damage is taken, and I pass it over. Draws a land. I believe his last card is a Subtlety. Yeah, last card's a Subtlety. Just trying to figure out when to play it. Still not dead. Interesting. Trying to figure out, what to swing with. Blocks. It's a sync, so he's able to unsummon my creature or my Lord, which debuffs my creatures and does not give me death triggers. Play the Lord back for no value and pass it over. Top decks really well. Tashana's is amazing, so willing to be aggressive here, saying there's nothing you can have that can kill me. The card I've sandbagged in my hand is a Arena of Glory, so that I can give something haste, hoping that Cris does do something like this. I will exert the Arena. I was thinking about splitting the mana, but I have no other spell. So I will play a Mogg Mob and attack. This is an attack for 4. So this deck actually goes infinite on turn 3 and deals infinite damage. with Conspicuous Snoop and Boggart Harbinger. Okay, so this is really like sad. I don't want to say sad, but this is me messing up for sure. I'm like, okay, I can win. I can win 1,000%. The last card's a Harbinger, or the last card's a Tidebinder. So when I go to throw the Tidebinder, I believe I'm dead because this is double lorded, and I think that I still have an island, but I know I do not have an island because those the Tide Shaper and the Harbinger are both in the graveyard. So I am still using all of my normal lands, and so I thought that I'd just be instantly dead. Because of the fact that he has 4, 5, so it's 3, 5, 10 damage in play. But he points out to me that I can still chump block and stay alive. And I'm like, okay, well, let's play it out for coverage. Even though I gave him the handshake, which feels so bad. Yeah, Harbinger is really good. Well, the issue is Harbinger is black. So if you're playing Kernko's your legend, it doesn't work. But I enjoy Rakdos Goblins personally. Rakdos or Jund is just so much fun. So Cris, having the perfect card here to stay alive, not die to the fling of the Mogg Mob. Now able to get in, but I'm threatening, a crack back. So Cris has to really think here. Arrives at the correct assumption that he can only attack with 1 because he needs his 2 blockers back. Worst case scenario. Forces me to chump. I'll block with the card that doesn't matter as much, exiling the land that I don't need. Top card is a Pashlik Mons. Go to my turn, untap upkeep, and draw the Pashlik. Now we tank. So here, if the vial was still on 3, instead of going to 4. No, you're all good. No worries. There's so many goblins. That's why I'm here. I'm here to to talk about all the crazy ones. I love brewing because there's just so much goblins. And we're going back to Lorwyn soon, so I'm just super excited. So I decided to play the Snoop because if he has a subtlety, I can just put it on top and then recast it, which I think is totally fine. Now, the Snoop resolves, but I have nothing else to do. So I just pass. If that vial was on 3, I feel like this match definitely goes in a different direction, or at least I have more agency. I would have the ability to attack, and if Cris blocks and kills my Snoops, then my creatures kill him. Or with the Pashlik triggers, I kill him. However, I'm going to spot now where I am not the aggressor. Forced to chump block again. This could have been a turn where I do not attack, or where I do not block. But being able to stay at 7 is super important because if I take it and go to 2 and he flashes in a subtlety, I instantly lose. Draw the den. Interesting point here. If the den was a mountain, then I could play my mountain, cast my matron. Matron Vial is Chalice of the Void worthy, in my opinion. I could see. So here's the thing. I could see Chalice being brought in for Vial. The issue is when they want it is on turn 1. And I can't turn 1 a Vial on 1. I have to turn 2 it. So it only catches the future Vials. So the premature handshake didn't work. But when I cast my matron, because I only have a tap land, if it was a normal mountain, I'd be able to cast it again. But the handshake comes across because the subtlety puts the matron on top. I don't have 3 mana to cast it, and I die in the air. Very well played. Yeah, we definitely play Chalice. I love Chalice and Goblins. It's one of my favorite cards. I play it in every format it's legal. I play it in Modern and Legacy, and it's just so much fun. And that was a great match playing with Cris. It's always a great time. Shout out to the legends. Shout out to Nerd Rage Gaming. Shout